Math 12 students. I'd like to walk through the syllabus with you, pointing out the highlights. So I'm starting at the home page or the landing page, and I'm going to click on this link to syllabus. So the syllabus is on this page. So see up here in the top left, this is called the breadcrumb trail that says you're in Math 12. You're in the pages, and see how the pages button is what's underlined. You're in pages, and this is the syllabus page. So the first thing I want to show you is the preface to the syllabus. So this is something that I've thought a lot about, and students ask a lot, why do I need to take this class? So I thought I'd put together my thoughts about it so that you could have my answer. So I'm thinking of this class as preparing you for your future fabulous career, because you don't want to be doing whatever job you're doing now for the rest of your life. So college is your opportunity to get prepared for that dream job. And I want you to think of me as your practice future boss of how do I want to present things to my boss. So qualities that employers look for, and you might consider highlighting these in your resumes and interviews. And this is a list from Indeed.com. That's a big source of employers use for finding people to hire. So progress, not perfection, is my goal for you. My sincerest hope is that after you take this class from me, you'll be even better at clearly and logically explaining your reasoning and the justification for your answers. Even better at reading and following instructions carefully. Maybe reading multiple times if that's what you need to do to be really clear. I hope that you're even better at asking clarifying questions whenever you're not sure about something. Be brave, ask. I hope you're even better at paying close attention to details. You'll see that I am a detail person, and I want you to be also. Bosses appreciate detail people. And I want you to be even better at proofreading your own work. So please don't turn in your work until you have checked it for errors. It's not your boss's work to check your work for errors. You need to check it first for any obvious errors and get those fixed before you turn it in. And I hope you get even better at asking yourself if your result makes sense and is reasonable in the context of the problem you're being asked to solve. We hope that all math students become better and better problem solvers as they take more classes with us. So you may never use the algebra skills you learn in this class, but I can promise you that all of the other skills you practice and hone, those will definitely help you excel in your workplace. So I'm asking a lot. I'm asking you to trust me that the knowledge I want to help you gain will be valuable and useful to you. So that's a big ask, but I'm asking you to give me the benefit of the doubt and trust me that you need this and that you'll be a stronger student and a more outstanding employee from having taken this class. So here are the important dates for the semester. January 24th, the semester begins and the first Zoom meetings happen. Sunday, February 6th is the add drop refund deadline. So that's the last day you need to drop if you don't want the class to show up on your transcript at all. Then Friday, February 18th is the President's holiday weekend, and also Monday, the 21st. So we won't have a Zoom class on the Monday, and there won't be work due on the Friday. That's meant to be a holiday. Then Friday, April 8th, that's the deadline to withdraw if you want to get a W on your transcript. If you don't withdraw before that date, you will get a letter grade. Then spring break comes very late in the semester this time. It wanders around and follows Easter. So it's Monday, the 11th of April through the 16th of April. Then Saturday, May 21st is the last day of instruction. So these gray boxes with the arrows, again, this is a menu collapse or expand. So the contact me information is available by clicking on that title. So here's again the information about joining Remind. You can send a Canvas message, email, use my Google Voice number, my home phone. I have a landline still. Does anybody even know what that is? but it's available and you can leave a message on it. And if you come to the Zoom student hours, that's another good way to contact me. So here's what you need for the class. Lots of time to work on Math 12. It really does take at least 12 hours a week for most students. That's the average amount of time for an average student to get an average grade. So you need to adjust accordingly. The Newton homework software is adaptive, so if you're answering questions successfully, you'll have fewer problems to do. So that's incentive to work carefully and type carefully. It does give you one chance to just correct typos or small errors on your answers, which is nice. Most students find that at least 2 hours a day, at least 6 days a week, is the best way to budget the time for the class. It really doesn't work to try and learn math for 4 hours in one day. Our brains just are not made that way. For most students, the course is a lot of work. And if you decide from the beginning to work hard, struggle to understand the material, struggling is part of the learning process, ask lots of questions, get help when you need it, and keep up with all the due dates, you're very likely to do well. And I will do everything I can to help you succeed. So our homework courseware is called Newton. It's from a company called Newton Alta that's part of the Wiley textbook publishing family now, but it was its own company first, and it's made by software developers. So you'll see some real differences if you've used other math homework courseware. This one's different. So you can either get an access code from the bookstore. That one is $51.36 plus tax, but you can use a financial aid book voucher there if you need to do that. Or you can purchase from Newton online, and you need to have credit card information ready. And if you need 14 days of free courtesy access, you have to choose the full semester option. So the software is based on the free OpenStax College Algebra textbook. So if you click on this link, it will take you out of the class to the OpenStax website, right to the College Algebra book. And it has a table of contents, so you can find the titles of the sections in Newton match up. The chapter and section numbers don't, because I put things in a different order, but the titles of the sections will match up. So the entire text is also available if you want to download it to your device. You can click here, and the entire book is here. Canvas doesn't really like humongous files, but you can download the file onto your device if you would like to have it rather than having to access it on the web. Okay, so there is a prerequisite for this course. We won't be offering lower courses than this beginning in the fall semester, but for this semester, you do still have the option of backing up one class to Math G Intermediate Algebra, and then that will no longer be an option starting in the fall. So if your algebra skills aren't strong or recent, you might want to consider switching to a section of Math 12 that's a 6-unit version of the course that offers additional support. They have extra time to go back and review things like adding fractions and solving linear inequalities with number lines. And they just have a little extra time with the 6 units to be able to do whatever review you need. It's going to feel like it goes pretty fast. That's the input I get from students. So you have to have regular access to high-speed internet. I have tried to make it so that if you don't have easy access, for only 3 days a week will you have to get access so that you can submit work. Sierra College will provide you with a free hotspot or laptop computer if you contact them at this link. That's all you have to do is ask. You do need a basic scientific calculator. Everybody has phones now and the internet, so you don't really have to have a physical calculator, but it would be good to get good at a calculator and learn the one you have really well. So if you don't already have one, this Casio is the one I recommend, and I only recommend it because so many students have purchased one and told me how glad they were. So I don't get any kind of kickback from Casio. So graph paper, you need graph paper for this class. Graphs have to be drawn on graph paper. So get some as soon as you can, but you do have a couple of weeks. We won't start using it till about week 4. You can get it from the Sierra College bookstore. You can get it from pretty much any store you could think of. Walmart, Target, Staples, any of those places have graph paper available, and it's not that expensive. You'll need a scanning app, and there's lots of free scanning apps out there, and most of the newer phones have scanners built in. So you will have to be able to scan in order to submit work to Canvas. Every week there will be handwritten work that you're submitting to Canvas by scanning. So if you already have one, use whatever one you have. But if you don't already have one, students have told me about Adobe Scan. You can get Microsoft Office Lens through the school. If you want to know how to do that, just ask me. Genius Scan. And if you have an iPhone, there's the Notes feature that comes with the phone. But I do need you to scan your work. When I use my camera on my phone on a document, it asks me if I want to scan, and you need to choose scanning. It converts it differently, and the iPad app I have to use for grading won't accept photos. They have to be originally scanned as PDFs. So then if you need any help, please don't hesitate. I'm available Wednesday evenings from 6:30 to 8:30 on Zoom. Every week I'll send you an invitation. And if you need to turn in a quiz after the until date, you can. So there's no penalty for turning in late assignments. This class is very flexible, made to work for you however it works best. You have a peer tutor, Lynette, who's available to you. You can message her through Canvas. She's in the list of people if you click the people button. And she has her own button in the Canvas navigation for the course. She'll also have Zoom office hours where she can help you individually, and she comes to the Zoom sessions and works with the students in a breakout room while they're working on the quick quiz. The Algebra Support Center is available. I showed you that button on the previous video. And the Math Center is available, the Tutor Center, and Tutor.com. Tutor.com, make sure you only use it for homework and quick quizzes. And please note that I can see the transcripts of the sessions with the tutors and exactly what's being worked on with which student. So please use it appropriately, but do feel free to use it in the way that it's intended. So every course at Sierra College has a curriculum document. We file these with the California State Chancellor's Office, and instructors are obligated to teach to that document. So this is the list of the things I'm supposed to teach you to do in this class. A lot of them probably don't make any sense yet, but when you get to the end of the course, it would be good to come back here and say, did I learn all this? Because this is what I was supposed to learn. So number 4 is especially important to me, where you logically present clear, complete, accurate, and sufficiently detailed solutions to communicate your reasoning and demonstrate what you're doing, the method of solving problems. Okay, then I can see I need to fix the title on this section. It's supposed to say serious business. So accommodations, if you need any kind of accommodation, please let me know. We don't have timed tests, so that's not an issue. But if you need any other kind of accommodation, please let me know. I do need documentation from Disabled Students Programs and Services, and this is a link to their webpage, and I can help with that process if you're not familiar with it. If you have an IEP in high school, that can flow right to the college with you, and I can help you make that happen. So Title IX is something we're required to let you know about in our syllabus. The most important thing you need to know is I am a mandated reporter, it's called. If a student reports any type of sexual harassment, sexual violence, any kind of prohibited discrimination, I am obligated to report that. So that's not to say don't let me know about it, But what you can do is let me know that you need to talk to somebody else about it if you're not ready to report or you're not sure if you want to report. We have confidential counselors who are able to talk to you without having to report, and they can help you decide those things. So I want to get you connected with somebody that will help without having to report. So I just need to make sure that that's clear for you. And then these are some resources that are available in our community. So we're teaching and learning online, but attendance is still required. And each instructor is going to tell you what attendance means in their class. So in my class, you need to make progress in Newton at least every 3 days, or you will be hearing from me just wondering what's up, how can I help? You need to complete and submit your quizzes, contribute thoughtfully to each week's discussion board, and make an entry in your journal each week. Those are considered attendance. So if you're not going to be able to get that attendance work done in a week, please communicate with me about that. You don't have to explain to me any reason. Just let me know that you are going to get the work done, that something tragic has not happened, because I am a mom and a grandma and I worry. That's my job. So I start worrying if I don't see work happening and I don't hear from a student. So please just let me know what's going on. And if I don't hear from you and you aren't making progress, I usually assume that you meant to drop and it slipped your mind. So I will drop you because I can reinstate you. It's very easy and I don't need an explanation. All you have to do is ask to please, can I be reinstated? And I'll be happy to do that. And I do that because if the withdraw date comes and you haven't withdrawn yourself and you meant to, now you're going to get a letter grade. So I feel like it better protects the options for the student, for me to drop them, and then they can always be reinstated, even after the withdraw deadline. If you drop yourself, you can't get back into class after the withdraw deadline. So me dropping you keeps all your options open. Okay, academic honesty. This is very important to me, and I want to assume you're all going to be honest and truthful. And I will assume that unless you give me a reason not to. So the first thing I do if I see 2 identical papers or a paper that does not look like original student work, I will ask the student about it and give them an opportunity to respond. And if the student requests, I will meet with the student and the dean to discuss the situation, and then appropriate penalties will be determined on a case-by-case basis. Every situation is not identical, so I can't really make a blanket policy of this is always how it will go. So apps and internet websites that give answers are not acceptable tools. All the work to support your answer has to be your original work. Anything else is considered plagiarism. So if you present as your own work that's not your own, that's plagiarism. Copying from any source isn't going to help you learn. And if I get identical papers, which occasionally I do, they get a score of 0 and can't be redone. And I will be contacting the students and asking what's going on so that we can resolve the issue. So please start by exploring all of the instructional materials in Newton. If you're not finding what you need, please then use these resources. Khan Academy, Math is Fun. I've found some great materials on Math is Fun. Wolfram Alpha, I think, may not be free anymore, but you can check. And then there's an app you can get for your phone called Socratic. And these are teaching and learning resources. They're not give me the answer, I don't want to learn it sources. So some of the sources that are not acceptable because they are give me the answer are listed here. It's not an exhaustive list. So any source that just gives the answer without helping you learn, not acceptable. If you're not sure if a tool is acceptable or not, please check with me before you use it, or you might get a 0 on your assignment. It's pretty easy to find the same resources you have found if you are doing any sort of plagiarizing. So let's just don't go there. Then about your grade. So your grade has a bunch of different categories. The getting started activities are 4% of your entire grade. So one of the most important is to get your binder set up so you're all organized before you start doing paperwork. After about 4 weeks or so, I'll check in with you to see how your binder's going and if your system is working for you, and you can send me pictures of how your work is being organized. There's homework in Newton. There's 88 topics. Each one's 3 points, so that gives you 26% of your grade. And each topic has one or more micro objectives within it. So there's a total of 211 micro objectives. So each little topic has 2 or 3 things in it, and each assignment, there's 2 or 3 of them due on each of the days. So completing everything before the due dates, that will get you 26.4% of your grade. At midnight on the due date, Newton calculates what percentage you have completed, and that's the percentage of the 3 points that you get. If you go back to topics later and get them 100% complete, your score gets changed to 100% in the Canvas gradebook. So suppose you get 70% of it done by the due date, and the next week you get that up to 80%, nothing changes. And the next week you get it up to 90%, nothing changes. But if the next week you get it up to 100%, now the score gets changed to 100%. So you can keep doing this until 11:59 p.m. Sunday, May 22nd. So it's never too late until it's the end of the semester. So the mini quizzes in Newton are graded the same way. They're very short, as I've said. So use them as a way to check your knowledge, because it doesn't take you right to instructional materials if you don't get it correct. It makes you go find out, why didn't I get it correct? So there are 30 quick quizzes, and the quick quizzes are very short. They're usually 2, maybe 3 problems, sometimes 4 or 5 if they're very short. So it's meant to be done in about 15 to 20 minutes during the Zoom session. So they're pretty brief. The idea is for you to get a chance to get pretty low stakes feedback on your written work before it's a shine quiz that's worth a lot more. So if you complete the quiz and turn it in, you get 2 of the 3 points. 3 points if it's already 100% correct. Then if you redo it with my feedback incorporated and resubmit it, and it's perfect, you get 100%. So I will work with you as many times as you need to turn it back in to get 100%. I'm happy to work that with you, and I want everybody to get 100% on every assignment. So the quick quizzes I consider learning assignments, not assessments of your learning. They're just a way for you to get feedback so that you can improve and learn how to present the work even better. So quizzes are due on the due date, but they can be turned in late. Then there are 13 big quizzes, 40-point quizzes. So anything that's been on a homework assignment until the date of the shine quiz might be on that quiz. I go back and recycle things frequently to give you a chance to show me you have learned it if you didn't learn it the first time it was on a quiz. So you'll do your written work on paper, showing everything, and submit it to Canvas. And I want you to use only the Newton materials or my videos to answer the questions. And you'll have an opportunity to do corrections to improve your score. Those are due on the due date shown in Canvas and can be turned in late. Each week there'll be a discussion board posted in Canvas. You respond to the prompt by Friday, and then comment on at least 2 classmates' responses by Sunday. Your original post earns 1 point, and each of your first 2 responses earns a point for a total of 3. The discussion boards close Sunday nights, and that's the one thing that you can't do after the due date, is the discussion board. Journals, each week you'll respond to a prompt for a private journal post. I'm the only one who sees it, and I will reply to each and every journal entry. If you prefer not to respond to the prompt, it's always your option to just check in and let me know how you're doing. Did you notice there's no final exam? In fact, there's no exams. I have just decided that this way works a lot better for me and for most of the students, It does kind of create procrastinator heaven, so that might be something that you need to work on. But it makes the class very flexible. If you have a crazy busy week, but then the next week is not as busy, you can get your week work done in that week when it's not so busy. So don't let yourself get very far behind without putting the time in to catch up, because it snowballs fast. That's something I hear often from students of you really want to stay ahead so that if something happens, then you're just on due dates rather than behind. So your grading canvas will always be your current grade. Please make sure all your scores are recorded correctly. You're the only one that knows what your score should be. So if there is any error, please let me know so I can get it fixed right away. I do offer extra credit for going to your peer tutor, Lynette's peer tutoring sessions. She keeps track, and you get 2 points for attending your first session. Then every 2 sessions after that, you can get an additional extra credit point. And I do the same thing for the Zoom student hours. 2 points for attending the first one, and then 2 points, 1 point for every 2 sessions after that. And those points get added to your total at the end of the semester. So this is a little table that just shows all that information that I just told you of how many points and what percent each of the different things are. So notice that the Shine quiz has the biggest weight, but that doesn't mean you should start with it. You should do the homework and the mini quizzes, then the quick quizzes, then the Shine quiz. The Shine quiz will seem really, really hard if you just try and do it first without the learning that goes with it. So please let me know if you have any questions at all about the syllabus, and I'm really excited to get going.